was a terrible situation. Well, I was going out with these urban explorers into all of this subterranean infrastructure underneath London. And after we went into those sewer systems, then we got into electricity tunnels. Then we started getting into bunkers. So
how illegal is this stuff?
These are like layers under the city. So imagine there's like 5 layers under the city, right? So we go from those sewers to the electricity tunnels to the infrastructural systems to the bunkers, and then we started getting into what are called deep level systems, right? And they're very similar to the bunkers that the U.S. government is building here that they call DUMBs, deep underground military bases, right? We started getting into like serious critical infrastructure. Like at some point,
how easy was it to get into those?
It took us years. It took us years. There was quite a lot of research. Wow. But I mean, at some point we got into what are called the BT deep level tunnels, British telecommunications deep level tunnels, and we were like inside the telecommunications trunk for all of the United Kingdom. And at this point we're like 100 feet underground, 120 feet underground. We were walking through this tunnel about 100 feet underground, and one of the explorers I was with is like, there's a manhole above us. I was like, what do you mean there's a manhole above us? We're in the deepest level right now. And we pop this manhole and a camera swivels, and stares at us. We're like, oh God, and then we realized we were into some critical shit. So
what was it?
It was just telecommunication hubs, right? It's just like the trunk of all of the infrastructure for fiber optics and phone lines.
And they just have an exposed manhole cover and a tunnel that you can get to.
Dude, we wiggled from tunnel to tunnel, like through tiny crevices. We were getting into like the deep underbelly of the city. I mean, it was not easy to get to. But here's the thing: at the same time, we had been cracking all of the abandoned tube stations, metro stations in London, right? So we took a map of the tube from 1932, and we set a map from 2008 on top of it, and what you see are a bunch of stations that are no longer on the map, right? That's your first clue. So there were like 40-some. Then we started doing research, and we figured out that there's got to be at least 14 stations that still have like ticket offices or platforms, or there's something there that you could find. So we started sneaking into the tube to go and find these places. Like we would wait till the train stopped at 2 a.m, and then we would like climb up a bridge and get onto the tracks, and we'd run through the tunnels, and we were finding these stations one after another. Incredible time capsules, where there were artifacts left behind, posters, like we'd find tickets on the ground that were 40 years old, I mean, really cool stuff. A lot of these stations were bombed out during World War II. But finding these is like, again, this kind of like here's the archaeologist in me, right? Like we were having this visceral connection to history. We were finding this stuff that was giving us like a real sense of being inside history in material terms. So we're posting every time we crack one of these stations. We post it on our blogs. We're like, oh, we've cracked Mark Lane, we've cracked Down Street, we've cracked whatever, and we're all excited about it. And like the window's narrowing, and we get towards the end of the 14 stations, and we're starting to think, like the cops are surely watching what we're doing, right? The British Transport Police. And kind of know where we're going to go next, because there's only a few stations left. So we stopped posting stuff. And on Christmas of 2012, we cracked the last station underneath the British Museum, which, like, there's all sorts of cool stories about, like, there was a ghost in here, it's a haunted station or whatever. But we did it. We never got caught. So for me, this is the end of the research project.
Is there a fear of being, like, retroactively prosecuted for this stuff?
We'll get there.
Oh.
So I'm done with my research project. I've written my PhD. I published my first book, Explore Everything, about all of our or I hadn't published the book yet, actually. And I fly to Cambodia to work on a totally different research project, right? Like I'm switching gears. I'm going to go do something else. And I fly back from Cambodia via Singapore, and the plane lands at Heathrow. And, the thing goes off, ding, and you stand up and you get your bags. and then nothing's happening. And they say, "Can everyone please sit down again?" And I sit down, I look out the plane, and there's cop cars everywhere. And I'm like, oh, shit. You know, I came from Singapore. Someone brought drugs. I don't know. There's a terrorist on the plane. Like, I have no idea what's going on. And the cops get on the plane, and they're like, 42K, 42K. Dr. Garrett? Yeah? You're coming with us. Okay. So they cuff me. They have me, like, retrieve my bag from the baggage claim, and they take me through passport control in handcuffs. And obviously the UK government's like, yeah, we'll go ahead and keep that passport. Thank you.